Welcome everyone in this event. Yesterday we celebrated the World Refugee Day, but we are still celebrating today at Kepler. Again, happy Refugee Day to everyone. This year, the World Refugee message is together we heal, learn, and shine, which means the inclusion of refugees in health system, education, and sports. We want to see a remarkable inclusion of refugees in all aspects of life. And at Kepler, we value quality education that lead to meaningful employment. So our today's message is together we learn. In this event, we get a chance to learn from amazing, incredible young refugee professionals from different countries and programs. Before I welcome our guest speakers, I would like first to welcome our CEO, Natalie, to say a few words and share a video. Natalie, over to you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. And for those joining us in other time zones, good evening or good morning. I mean, the word celebrating refugees is a contradictory term because the status of refugees is not something to celebrate or something that is easy. And I think that that's what, but it is a celebration nonetheless, because a lot of our students personally at Kepler and across the world, we hear the messages and the stories and the testimonies and the experience of our speakers is something to celebrate. They've overcome some very powerful barriers, and you are also overcoming them for our students at Kepler. You are also overcoming them, and I wanted just to honor you and our speakers who are here and celebrate the paths that you are forging through these incredible hardships. This year has been very challenging. COVID-19 pandemic has been very challenging for particularly refugees populations and internally displaced populations. At our camp, we've had several times closure, and I believe even now there's a lot of restrictions happening at our Kiziba campus. And so in addition to the regular barriers, you're having even more barriers of being able to leave, to seek employment and other opportunities. And so this is a very tough situation globally, but even more so for our students. So I want to encourage you and say that we at Kepler are working on how we can improve the situation. We're trying to be quite innovative. And so we'll be announcing a few of those programs in the weeks to come to support our alumni and our students, particularly on how, particularly around employment. And now one of the other things I wanted to mention, and we have a 6-minute video, so I'm going to be very brief, is that I hope that in discussions today, we stay away from slogans. We have a slogan for this year for World Refugee Day, but I'd really like us to talk about personal experiences and for us to talk about what can be done from a refugee's perspective. So Kepler, we're doing the best we can, and we're going to improve our efforts and invest more because it's our personal commitments towards our students and our alumni. But I think there's a lot to think about around what can be done and is being done by refugees for refugees. I think that's a powerful statement today. And again, happy World Refugee Day. And thank you very much for pushing through a lot of the barriers and challenges you face every day to be able to have higher education, but also to lift your families out of poverty and your community. Very quickly, thank you to Ella, who's hosting, and thank you to the entire humanitarian team at Kepler, led by Ashley. I want to honor you guys for the work that you've done, and just to celebrate again with you guys today. And I use the word celebration around that. Just more carefully, I want you to note that the funding towards refugee programs, whether it's education, has been decreasing over the years, and we will continue to see a decrease as countries turn inwards. So a lot more discussions, less funding. And so I think that as you advocate for yourselves and you get into bigger circles with people, I would encourage you to not become proponents of slogans, but also challenge the fact that we're seeing more discussions, less funding for refugees. And we have to continue to advocate to make sure that what is being said in terms of slogans and and support is actually coming out in financial support and concrete support for refugees. So thank you very much.
Stephanie, can you play the video for us?
Yes, sure.
And if you have any issue or your question, and if you have a feedback to share with us, please use the chat box as well.
In 2015, at Kepler, we made a very important decision to start serving refugee students at our Kigali campus and at our Kiziba campus, which is based out of Kiziba refugee camp in the western part of Rwanda. And the question we asked ourselves is, how do we do this? At Kepler, we're trying to solve multiple problems at the same time. The first is we're trying to make sure our students are getting a quality education that allows them to acquire 21st century skills to prepare them for current employment and upcoming employment, jobs that don't exist yet. And we're trying to do this by providing them completely online experience. And we're trying to make it accessible and affordable, both for our students that come from a low-income background, but also for our refugee students, which make up 25% of student body.
As a refugee, I was not having much financial resources that would help me to attend higher education. But Kepler came as a response for everything.
We did this by creating a preparatory program that we called ITEME. And ITEME is special because it provides the tools and confidence to refugee students who are coming out of high school to be able to apply to Kepler, but also to other higher education institutions in Rwanda.
We are helping refugees to transform their life. We are helping to increase their hope for the future. It was really hard for them to access higher education, so it's very important for them to have this opportunity, and they are not taking it for granted. They are really cherishing the opportunity that Kepler is giving them, and it's been changing their life.
Now the problem is that coming from a non-refugee background, how do you give confidence to someone who has different challenges and barriers than you? And we found that the best way to do this was to empower refugees to be able to provide the services through ITEME. So our refugee guidance counselors are actually refugees themselves and understand the realities and the barriers that refugee students, especially refugee female students, face.
As a refugee, supporting other refugees now is really something that I really love. And also it really motivates me when I'm advocating for other refugees, because I know what they're going through. I know the life struggle. I know what are the drawbacks of being a refugee. And also I know all the stereotype of being a refugee, so I can easily mentor them, guide them, because I know all the hardship that they are going through.
And once they've applied and got into Kepler, together with our partner, Southern New Hampshire University, we offer them a quality degree that allows them to be really competitive on the employment market. They get to expand their understanding in the different degrees that we offer. But beyond that, they also get the confidence to be able to apply through our strong career services to employment after they graduate. We have come up with different services to be able to help refugees to get access to the employment market. And this year, we've decided to expand those services to allow our students to have competitive entry into the employment market here in Rwanda.
After graduation, I am currently working as an academic support at Jesuit Refugee Services, Nairobi, Kenya.
I'm a General Studies and Communication teacher at College Mahoro under World Division. I work as a teacher to facilitate students to reach their goals.
After graduation, I got an opportunity at Southern New Hampshire University, specifically in the Office of Diversity and Inclusion. So I'm working there as an Office of Diversity and Inclusion intern.
Now we have a lot of graduates who were able to go out and change their life because they got jobs and they're being paid well, and they were able to take some of their family members out of the camp.
So on World Refugee Day, I wanted to honor our refugee students and tell them that they know they can. They've been breaking barriers since we started in 2015, and we're excited to see where they're going to go. And I think it's important for other higher education institutions and the international community to not let down support for refugee populations, particularly around education. Let refugees speak for themselves. They can achieve so many great things if we empower them in the right way and we let them decide how and where funding goes.
As we celebrate for the World Refugee Day, I would love to send some message to all those young refugees that are in refugee camp, urban sites. I know that when you wake up in the morning, you are surrounded by all this negativity. You don't know if you're going to make it. So I want you guys to work hard and to never give up. I know it's really hard, but always be prepared for opportunities.
Happy World Refugee Day.
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 Thank you so much for watching our video. I guess that you enjoyed the video and you learned more about what we're doing at Kepler. Now, I would love to welcome one of our speakers, Remy Gakwaye. Remy Gakwaye is from Burundi and currently a refugee in Malawi. Remy founded and is the director of Technolab. Technolab provides digital entrepreneurship and software design skills to underprivileged community in Africa. Today, they are working with the World Bank and the government of Malawi that funded them under a project called Digital Malawi. Currently, Technolab has more than 30 employees, if I'm not wrong, Remy. So Remy, I would love to welcome you on, the floor is yours, and tell us more about Technolab. The audience, please feel free to use the chat box for all the questions that you have for Remy. He will answer all your questions after his presentation. Thank you, Remy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you, and a happy World Refugee Day to everyone as we are celebrating this. And for the sake of clearance, my name is Remy, as what he said. I'm the CEO and founder of Technolab, a technology learning and building solution based in Malawi. Was funded by refugee, but we are working now with the host community to make sure that we bridge the gap of technology around the community. So I'll take you through our project in such so that we can be together and understand exactly what we do. So Technolab is currently leading Tech Hub and ICT Academy that is providing training on how to develop software around Malawi, and we are looking to expand. And we will also assist people to discover solutions to different challenges, but the solution are coming in terms of software development. So we empower the group we call local developers to look at the challenges in the community and to be able to create solutions that are meaningful to solve those challenges. And mostly we focus on the marginalized communities. These are people like refugees and rural communities that are totally left behind. And in our enrollment, mostly we take both. We take refugees in Malawi, and we believe that for the community advancement, is only achieved by developing better leaders, and the leaders can be created better by education and proper knowledge. So we started in 2015. That's when the Technolab was founded, from very, very ground roots of having nothing, but from there we moved it to including Malawians from 2016 to 2017 until we reached almost 500 students. And also we got HANA as exceptional community service. From there in 2018, we took a new era by understanding that girls were left behind in all our projects. And we said it can't be the way we go with technology where there's no girls, there's no women. So we designed a special program for girls, which was called Girls Smart Code. And this brought a lot of girls, and they equipped a lot of girls and changed a lot of stories behind girls and technology within the community. In 2019, we went official by registering our organization. And also we won 2 awards in Southern Africa, one as the best edutech and the other one. And also in the same year, we got a grant to construct our ICT Academy and Entrepreneurship Center from Southern New Hampshire under the president, Paul LeBlanc. So currently as Technolab, we are partnering with the Malawi government as it has been mentioned, and the World Bank Fund in implementing digital projects. So the main thing that are making us to move is the mission which we look forward, which is to teach everyone how to code. And we believe that by teaching everyone, we are solving a lot of challenge, but also reaching that, we are looking at how we can end poverty and joblessness through technology advancement within communities. And we can't reach that if we are not having proper values like collaboration, partnering with different organizations across the globe to make sure that we reach the goals. But this comes with integrity, philanthropy, love, ecology, but also trust. When we have this particular young refugees living in a hard life and without proper trust from people who have taken steps, or organization that has taken steps, it's become very hard to reach to this kind of goals. And the equality is one of the main things that we value most, and the responsibility. So in our mission, we want to take communities and a privileged community from one level of being just a user, because most of the underprivileged community, they don't even have access to the so-called technologies. So moving from that level to another standard, that they become creator of the technology, they become presenters of technology, they own their own technologies and they solve their own problems. And this comes both sides, from refugee communities and all host communities, being able to solve community problems using technology advancement. So at Technolab, we do all of that by offering training. So we offer various courses in ICT, and this is based in digital skills. In digital skills, we offer computer programming in different languages, but also we looked at e-learning, where we introduced communities on how they can work online using different skills and knowledges. But also we introduce entrepreneurship to make sure that the people, the community, the rural community, the refugees can be able to look at the surrounding, how they can identify opportunities and challenges and turn the hard life, turn the hardship to another opportunity, and you use it to create, to support, to help others. And we don't end only on that level, but also we reach to the schools around the refugee camp, which are in host community. And there we go, we teach the kids how to use computer. We introduce them to internet, what they can do on the internet, how they can navigate on the internet, but also we teach them on the online security. What should they do online? How should they be safe online? And this makes us to be preparing the next innovators, next inventors in a very, very systematical way. So all in all, what makes us believe, we believe that success, according to Conrad Hilton, that success seems to be connected with action. Successful people keep moving. They make mistakes, but they don't quit. And this is one of the main things that we encourage also young people, people living in a communities that seems to have no opportunities, seems to have no chance. So with that in mind, you know that you believe in one thing that you are going to do and you focus on that, regardless of the challenge and the issues that you meet. But if you keep moving, there is a future. And this takes us to our core philosophy, that is the building stone of the Technolab, which is using small to make big. This is to encourage a lot of people that there is nothing that cannot be used to produce a big thing. Nothing. Actually, all the big things are made from the mind, small things. So this has to be installed in everyone who want to build something, regardless of the location, place, and the life experience. And also having the spirit of helping each other to become better, to empower other people to be better, not about competing, not about challenging one another, but being happy to see someone is moving from one step to another. And that's why we say together, we heal, we learn, and we reach to another level, we shine. And when we look at numbers, starting from 2015 to 2019, Technolab has reached to 2,000 people. These have been, others has been trained in long courses, short courses, workshops, and the likes. And from that, around 300 graduates works on for diverse organizations across the globe. Others are working within Malawi, within the refugee camp, but other parts of Africa and the world in general. And in 2021, we have already reached 2 schools, primary and secondary, where we reached the 100 students, 50 for each school. And these are the students that are learning the basic knowledge about computer, covering about internet and the security. And at the new center that we have, which was funded by Southern New Hampshire, we are having 250 students who are learning about digital skills, computer programming, web development, e-learning, and entrepreneurship. So looking at the program that will go around, this is one of the students. They are very young at one of the primary that we went to train them on computer, internet, and the security. And looking at the age, looking at the skills, it's encouraging us to see that these kids, they like what they are doing, and we need to make sure that we take them to another level. I will give you the chance to listen a little bit from what she will be sharing, and then from there we'll continue with the presentation.
Remy, I'm worried we can't hear the audio.
You can't hear the audio? All right. So then can I jump it?
Yeah, you can follow the.
So I will jump it. Yeah. So, and lastly, but not at the end, this is the message from the community. So as we are located in approximate with the refugees and host community where our center has been built, it's allowed the community to be accessing the lab easily. And this was the message from the leaders of the community, the host community mostly, and we call them kings or fumus. They say they need a lot of these kind of centers to encourage, to help, to change the life, because a lot of youth has been changed, their life has now got the new way to live instead of being left to sit down. So lastly, these are the people that we are partnering with, the government of Malawi through the World Bank project and the PPPC, but also Southern New Hampshire that has been the main funder for the construction of the center. and the upcoming connectivity, affordable connectivity, which is called TechnoNet. So thank you very much for taking your time. Thank you. Any question, please?
Please, if you have any question, feel free to unmute yourself, and then you can ask directly a question to Remy. We have 1 to 2 minutes, and we also continue answering your question in the chat box as well.
Yeah.
Any question from the audience?
Hi, Remy. This is Ashley from Kepler. I would love to just hear a little bit about the beginning of your program. So like, how did you start? How were you able to engage like volunteers and other refugees in this program? Like, what advice would you have for anybody on this call who would want to start similar kind of initiatives in their communities?
So thank you very much for that question. One of the main things that how we started from nothing. I started from having nothing apart from people who were interested to learn. So the thing that I can advise someone who want to start kind of initiative is look at the goal and also focus on the main thing that you are offering. Because if you are offering a certain knowledge, get prepared with that and offer, choose who are interested to get it. But totally, we started from nothing. We had no team to work with. We had no volunteers. This thing, they just come as we go until now. We have a very big number of people we are working with, and other volunteers also are coming in from all over the world. So start, but just get started. That's what I can say. Get started. Find people who are interested to get what you want to offer and deal with that with all the heart. The rest will come as you go.
Someone in the chat asked if you can tell more about the name. Yeah.
About what?
The name TechnoLab.
The meaning.
Yeah, what is in the name TechnoLab or Techno?
Okay. No, TechnoLab. Actually, it's a word, technology, learning and building solutions, which was a little bit slightly moved here and there to make sure that it looked too local, because the issue is it was going to the local experience. Thank you very much.
So he is asking, what was the main challenges for you when you were studying? Are they existing challenges today? Can you tell us more about the challenges that you faced and other challenges that you are still facing now?
Okay, so the challenge that I faced before, the main challenge was people who comes to discourage you. They say that this is totally have no hope. No one is going to learn about programming. What for? Who are you doing this for? And another challenge that I face also is people who comes to show that they're going to help you, but they promise you remain on the air waiting for nothing. So those was the main challenge. But the challenge that was there and still is all about the tools that you can never have enough. As you expand, the need become big. You had 20 students, now you had 50, and you can't have always the equipment enough. That's the main challenge that keep going as we grow, as we reach many people. And I see some hands. I see there's hands around.
Yeah, Stephanie, can you allow these people? There are people who are raising their hand. If you can unmute yourself and ask your question directly. And if you are not able to talk, you can write in the chat and Remy will keep.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Makilandi Mafuta. I'm from Scalabrini, Cape Town.
Yes.
Yeah. My question is, because you highlight your achievements about related to TechnoLab, in just in three main points by saying that your mission, vision, and your value. I mean, as we here in Cape Town, we are not studying in the refugee camp. We are studying like a free school. We go to the center, and everyone has his own life. But we counter some of the difficulty also in order when we start the program, the implementation of what we should study, because we were not coping with the study, and our situation of life also was many barriers to transcend. I mean, my point is, and my question will be more specific, how do you manage to implement the program successfully and effectively in Kiziba camp and in Malawi or in Kepler camp for the students to be more competitive and to be more competent in order to implement the change in the community where they come from or where they will go? That's my question.
Okay, I will rephrase it. You mean that how are we managing to implement the program in the setting of refugee camp like Zaleka?
Successfully, in order also to be a pattern for Scalabrini to follow.
Okay. So as what we said, first of all, if you know the need, because I'm not just coming from somewhere and I'm coming to implement something in Zaleka. I'm a refugee. I know the hustle, I know the limitation, I know the challenges. So implementing this program, it means everything for me, because I know if this work, it will help a lot of people. So it's different from someone who is waiting for a certain someone to support them, but this was totally supported by individuals and locally. Until now, we got a very good backup and a very good support from big organization. But starting was hard. Only the thing that made it to move it was the acceptance from the community and the need that was shown by youth in the community by seeing what they can be able to do and how their life can be changed. So that's how we managed to be here today.
Hi, can I jump in? Can I ask a question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Innocent. I'm a refugee rights activist. Remy, the work that you're doing is really, really great. But I have a fear. And that fear is, should Google, come and snatch you away from Zaleka? Will Technolab continue? Will the services continue? Have you thought about, creating someone who take over and co-lead with you? Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's one of the questions that mostly I get. And if you look where we started up to where we are, I couldn't reach here if it was not because of creating other leaders. So what we do at Technolab, we don't only teach students, we prepare leaders, we prepare owners or other members who are going to be able to take over, to control. It's not only taken by Google, the life is having a lot of issues that can happen. But with that in mind, we always prepare other people, and we always implement, making sure that the project continue, the communities, underprivileged communities are being supported, are being represented, and are being educated in technology and advancement for the great and bright future. There's Emmanuel Ushindi. Emmanuel, can you go ahead, please?
Remy, you will take the last question, then we continue, then later you will keep answering question in the chat. There is a lot of question in the chat. So I allow you to take the last question. Yeah, Emmanuel, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, thank you so much, Remy. I'm so proud of the work that you've been doing in Malawi. I'm Emmanuel, I'm also based in Malawi, and I visited the center before, and it's amazing. I'm inspired by the fact that you didn't wait to get everything figured out for you to start, but you started and you believe that it's going to work. But my question is, you've seen so many other organizations and community-based initiatives here in Malawi and in the camp. They start well, but they are not able to sustain themselves. So what advice do you have for people like that? How can they ensure sustainability and the longevity of their projects? Because I know funding might run out sometime.
Yeah. Yes, so thank you very much for the question, Mr. Emmanuel Shindi. One of the core philosophy for Technolab, if you remember, is how to use small to make big. And it has to be going within every leader, refugee leader who is looking at how to start anything. So you need to allow yourself to use a lot of effort to make sure that it can stand, because people will join you as you go, but at the starting, you need to push as much as harder. But also, thanks for the question, we have now refugee-led organization cross, which we are going also to be doing a lot of advocacy together and including each other, sharing knowledge about capacity building and the like. So there's a lot that as Technolab and as other organization, by coming together, we can do as much and learn how we can survive in the situation that are always happen to crush young organization like ours. Thank you very much.
Ella, this is Natalie. Can I also add? Okay, great. So the question before from Makilandi I think is an important one, and it follows up with the same question Emmanuel just asked, which is how do you maintain sustainability when you're a small organization? So Kepler also started as a very small organization, as a charity, and the funding was not long-term funding, it was contributions from people giving from the US and other places. And so the question becomes, how do you sustain something when you see that it's impactful, to not stop because you've run out of money? And part of that, I think, is generally thinking about end-to-end services. So for example, at Kepler, we realized that it's difficult for refugees to apply to Kepler, and get in because they're competing with host communities. So we created a prep program. We realized it was difficult for refugees to who had never touched a computer to do a fully online program. We created a foundation program. We thought about computers, we thought about airtime, we thought about career services. We thought about a career guidance counselor program that Ella is a part of. And so you have to think about those things in addition to sustainability, financial sustainability. And if you can't do all of those things, to think about who has been doing this or who can help you in the different parts that you can support. So if you are in the business of computers, then who can help you with the prep programs or the foundation programs or the airtime? And so it's difficult for refugees who are trying to fix one problem to say to them, you have to think of all the problems. But if you definitely want to sustain yourself long-term, you have to think about all the problems. You have to think about, women who are mothers in the camp. You have to think about how do you get career services when, even if there's a right to work, people don't want to hire refugees. You really have to think about the whole process. And as he said, if you think about those processes, you really are able to get more funding and more long-term funding because you've organized it better. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ella,
Thank you,
can
Remy and
come in.
Natalie.
Seems Ella has dropped off.
Yeah,
But
Okay.
thank you.
I'm trying to join with my phone. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see me as well? Okay. I'm sorry for that. Had internet issue. We continue with my phone. I loved when Natalie was mentioning something. Are you guys done with Technolab? Should I go with the panel?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. So sorry for the inconvenience. Remy, we keep answering questions in the chat box, and that we keep doing this conversation. We're going to welcome three amazing leaders and professionals. Please welcome Amy Omudisa from Kiziba Camp. She's a Kepler graduate and she's now working with DWL. Amy, do you want to say a few words? Amy?
Hi, everyone. First, I want to say happy World Refugee Day to all. And I'm Amy Melissa. I'm a Southern Hampshire University fresh graduate. I'm working as on-site facilitator at Jesuit Worldwide Learning with partnership in Plan International. And I take this day as an international day, which will serve to recognize the strength and the success of the refugees and also to honor their resilience. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Amy. Now I'm going to welcome Funi Joyce Buni. Funi, she's from Nairobi. She's a South Sudanese refugee. She's currently living in Nairobi. Funi has been doing a lot of advocacy work, and now she's working with the Global Refugee Network. Please, Funi, the floor is yours. Say a few words to the audience.
Thank you very much. Happy World Refugee Day. It's really a pleasure to be here and to just interact with all of you. As Ella mentioned, my name is Foni Joy Suvoni. I'm a refugee from South Sudan, currently based in Nairobi. I work with the Global Refugee Youth Network, and this particular network, what we're working with young people. I'm very passionate about young people, passionate about education, and passionate about peace building. Together with Ella as well, we're part of the Tertiary Refugee Student Network, trying to really advocate on issues to do with education and how to really increase the opportunities for refugees to have access to tertiary education. It's really a pleasure to be here, and as we continue, I'll be able to share more about myself with you.
So now I want to welcome Araj Budbar. Araj is a former refugee from Iran, and he's currently working as an associate education officer with UNIHCR in Copenhagen. Araj, can you say a few words to the audience?
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much, Ella. Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Happy World Refugee Day to you all. It's just really exciting to hear about everything, all the questions and the introduction that Remy had to the great program. I'm really excited to see what can come up. My work, as Ella mentioned, is really around higher education, tertiary education, and being able to support opportunities that increase access to higher education for refugees. So glad to be here.
Okay, thank you so much, all of our amazing speakers. We start with Amy Omudisa. Amy, if you can tell us more about your work, like how your daily work looks like. And,
yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, currently we are having 4 students from also Kepler Kiziba. We are also having the platform that we are using as also I'm working as an on-site facilitator, but they are doing different assignment, different work. There are some assignment that I supervise. Also, there are other assignment that also we had a non-land facilitator, like our daily activity. We have 2 in-class activity, like on Tuesday and also Thursday, we get time to interact with the student, where maybe they got the questions, they got, maybe they have to ask clarification to the courses that was being taken maybe in last week, but the other days they used to work online. Also, I'm thankful for UNHCR because they provided iPad, tablet for the student for them to use in the courses. Yeah, that's how our daily basis activities. Yeah.
And tell us one more thing you are proud of in your career as a refugee professional.
Yeah, thank you, Ella, for the great question. I'm proud of being a Southern Hampshire University graduate through Kepler program, which exposed me to many precious opportunities, like getting a high quality degree which allows me also to be competitive on employment market. Also, it provided like those professional courses where I can be able to stand out to the other candidate. Also, from the professional courses, also it's the result in professional internship and also the professional employment. Which also helps me to be to choose the best career path. So I'm proud of that. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Emmy. I will go back to you with other person. So
Thank
now
you.
I would love to ask Funi. Emmy, can you mute? Okay, thank you. Funi, I would love you to tell us more about your advocacy work. I know that you're now part of the Canadian Council. Tell us more about the advocacy work that you've been doing in Nairobi, in other countries, and how is it impacting the refugee community as well as the host community?
Yeah, sure. Definitely. Just to maybe take you a bit back, I think for me to be able to serve, to continue doing, to be able to achieve my goals, I had to learn through serving others. And when I joined campus, I really wanted to figure out what exactly do I want to do? What course will allow me to really be able to serve my community in the best way possible, in the best way that I know of. So that's when I ended up taking communication, focusing on public relations, because I felt it was really important for me to communicate. For such a long time, I felt as if I was in this little cocoon and I couldn't communicate, and I really wanted to talk, but I didn't know how I wanted to go about it. So through that particular course that I did in Nairobi, I then started engaging with, I was an apprentice first, learning from different people, learning how to communicate, learning people skills. I really needed to learn that. Then I went ahead and became, when I was still in university, I worked with a student organization. So really just trying to look at how can we work together? How can we communicate? So that also brought me to the community organizing. How do I leverage local resources, or how do I work with other young people, with other refugees within my community to speak about issues? And with the continuous engagement that we did at the local level, we spoke about issues to do with girls, issues to do with education. We really looked at, it's not really about the funding, it's also sometimes about making sure you're able to transfer skills. So also really looking at within the community, how can I as Foni be able to support other girls to be able to really look forward and think about their future? So that led me to global advocacy, where I then was able to meet Arash, and we worked together on a global refugee youth consultation. And with this consultation, we talked to many other young people, trying to understand what are some of the priorities when it comes to young people? What are some of the challenges? So we ran consultations across the world in around 22 countries. We spoke to over 1,500 young people, trying to understand what is the biggest challenge. And then from that, what are some of the practical solutions? What can I do? What do other people need to do? So one of the recommendations was to create this council, which Arash and I were part of. We were part of the UNHCR Global Youth Advisory Council, working on just issues to do with policy, issues to do with youth specifically, because for such a long time, youth had been categorized under women and children. So we felt it was really important to have a way of ensuring that there's youth-specific data, there's attention being paid to the youth challenges. So with this, we were able to really continue with our advocacy, partaking in different events, global events, local events, national events, really speaking about the issue at the heart, which is refugee participation. How should it look like? How should it evolve? And what is needed? So we conducted all these different activities at the global level, worked with other different people at the global level, really just continuing with advocacy. And the impact of that was we were really trying to bridge the gap, because that is something that had existed for such a long time. There was many discussions happening globally and there was no translation coming, or there was no linkages to what was happening locally. So this really allowed us the opportunity to really participate at the global events, take up all the different jargons that would be used at the global events, policy discussion, and translate it in a way that we could come back to the community and ask our communities, What do you think is important? What should be considered? Is this the right representation? So that was one way where we were able to really engage with the community, bridging that gap to ensure that they're able to voice out things that are really important to them in these global processes. We did a lot of advocacy around moving from the state of just having refugees as volunteers, but really starting to rethink about how do we practically ensure that we create a system that actually when refugee young people or refugees work, that they can be paid, that they should be paid because they've given their time, they've given their expertise. So really did a lot of advocacy around that, talking with different donors, trying to see what can they do. A couple of donors were able to also accept that and are implementing this in different stages. So it's really been a journey of starting from serving your community, then getting to the point of also looking at how can you actualize yourself, because with all human beings, we want to be self-actualized and we all have needs. But then as you're having these needs, are you also accountable to your community? It's not a responsibility that has been given to us, but then at the same time, you need to start thinking about how can I also think about that other refugee, that other young man, that other young girl who is also a refugee, who also wants that opportunity. So that sort of organizing, that sort of self-awareness, that sort of collaboration with people has really been helpful, because it's then placed me in a position whereby I can fully participate in different forums. I can fully participate and talk about issues that are not only important to me, but issues that are important to my community. It's enabled me to really link well with also the host community. One practical example before I finish up, with access to education, that gave me the opportunity to really understand that I don't really need to be employed by someone to become self-reliant. It gave me that opportunity of looking at, well, this is my situation, this is my reality, and I can turn it around and start a business. So that's also something that it's really, it's allowed me with education, it's allowed me to think about how can I explore my potential to the fullest, regardless of the challenges that I'm facing.
Thank you so much, Foni. It's always a pleasure to listen to you, to your amazing work. I will get back to you if we have more time. So now I'm going to welcome Araj. Araj, as I mentioned in the introduction, he's been doing a lot of advocacy work with Foni and us as well. But now he's working in UniHR, and I also mentioned that Araj was a former refugee, but now he was resettled in Australia, and now he's working in Copenhagen with UniHR. So I want to know, Araj, now you're working in UniHR, and now you're trying to figure out how we can make sure that young refugees are accessing opportunity. Can you please tell us more about your work and what we can do to make sure that young refugees are exposed to opportunities?
Sure, definitely. Thank you so much, Ella. I mean, it's not always easy to speak after Foni, I guess, but I'll try to do justice. Maybe before going there, I feel I haven't really touched upon what Refugee Day means to me. I know, this came up a couple of times, but it adds a little bit to the experience that I want to share right now. But I think for me personally, it means to really honor refugees around the globe and celebrate their strength, the courage, the resilience and success of the people who have been forcibly displaced. And so it's really important that, this day shines a light on the rights, on the needs, on the dreams of refugees. And also it really helps to mobilize the bigger political will and resources so that refugees are not only surviving, but are thriving in their community. In terms of my success and motivation, as much it's really a little success, I would call it. I owe it to my refugee experience. I think usually when we think about the refugee situation, we go through struggles, but we also grow through them, and that really helps you not take things for granted. The other thing is, having access to education. I think that's really what helped me to be where I am today, and also being surrounded by friends and advocates, like you, all on the panel today. And I guess also most importantly, being open to learn and volunteer. Personally, volunteering really helped me a lot to gain different knowledge, confidence, and also I think being helpful and staying positive. So really what pushes me to do what I do every day is those little stories, little positive stories or small changes in one person's life. And in terms of, exposing opportunities to refugee, I think personally staying connected with other refugees worldwide is a key. Although we might say that opportunities are limited, but I think if we are connected to refugee youth and students that are in refugee situation, collectively, we would be able to have access to a really rich list of opportunities, data, and information, as each of them would know something that you may not know. And I guess making sure that if we have access to an opportunity, we make it available to our friends as well. With simple steps, I think, on how we managed to be successful in the opportunity that we had access to. Sometimes even a small tips, like helping someone with a motivation letter or uploading documents online could be a great way to help someone to change their lives. And I guess it's quite important that we let go of power. In many times, I think when we get into the humanitarian sector, we are invited to different events, we speak at different panels. So it's really important that every now and then we recommend other young people around us to take part on our behalf and on behalf of the other peers that we have, and to motivate them and encourage them to take part. So it's really important to mentor other young people. We should be able to pass the information and expertise that we have. All of us are expert in our own life and have really skills and professional sets that we could really help building the capacity within our community. And maybe one last thing I would say is that take advantage of any opportunity that come to you, even if it's not necessarily relevant to what you directly want to do in the future. Like, for example, I now in the chat asking why technology, but I think, trust me, it will contribute to your future one way or another. Take short courses, improve and learn different languages in your free time, and never be shy to ask for help. But also remember to always offer help if you are able to. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Arash. Now we are running out of time. I thought that we have a lot of time to spend with you guys, but I would love to give 1 to 2 minutes to the audience to ask one question to our speaker before they say their last message to the young refugees around here. So if you have a question to either Foni, Amy, or Arash, please unmute yourself and ask them a question. And Stephanie, can you help me with the chat if there were questions in the chat as well?
I can see a question in the chat
Okay,
that's addressed to me. You mentioned doing advocacy for young refugees or to get paid job and be employed in general, but I was wondering how you get to refugees that are not in the camps who are trying to build their lives in different cities where they live. One thing that I've realized with the different people I've worked with is that sometimes you have to adapt ways that you can reach them. For instance, if I'm doing any advocacy, I know that there are some young people I will not be able to reach. Why? Because of the connectivity issues. But then what are some of the resources we have in the community? I think that's also something we need to be really cautious and conscious of. As refugees, what resources do we have? Within our community, we have refugees who are working who are leading different activities, refugees who are community leaders. We have organizations and people who are kind of like who work with refugees. So it's really important to take stock of what resources are available for you in that particular area. Because I am living in Nairobi, but I've been talking to someone who is in Nakivale, Uganda. How am I doing this? Because I'm networking. So the first thing I would advise, we need to network with each other. Networking because we all have something to give. The second thing we need to do a mapping of our resources. What power do we have within our community? Because this situation of ours, we're the only ones who can change. We cannot expect anyone to come from outside and change. They will meet us halfway. We need to be able to make sure that when they're meeting us halfway, we're ready to share, this is what we've been working on. The third thing I can advise us to do, never give up. Even if connection is bad, we're all creative. I think we're a creative generation and we know different ways of how we are reaching people. For example, with the Global Refugee Youth Network, one of our members, Farida, does an incredible job. She's been making music with key messages, because this can also reach other young people. So what do you have that you can use to reach other people? I think if we look at myself, what can I give? How can I do it? And the resources that are available, then we'll be able to make changes. We need to take little steps, which will end up making a very great impact. Sometimes it doesn't just need to be money. It also needs to be that intentionality.
We have another question from Ireng. So far, talking about connectivity, how can we access people you work together in Rwanda?
And I have
So
also a question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, please go ahead and ask.
Yeah, my question is to know how Kepler can give us a pattern of his successful graduation of his students, because I'm speaking about what we're experiencing in Cape Town, Scalabrini, because when we started the program was a new for all of us, and we faces many challenges. We were not in refugee camp as the Kepler students are. I mean, what make it so successful for a student to cope with the system and to be successful and to graduate within the framework of the scholarship? I mean, within the four years of scholarship, get their BA.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to answer this question, but I want to give the stage to my colleague Sadiki. He's been helping our refugee students to be successful and to meet all the graduation requirements. That's one of the key things that we use at Kepler to make sure that refugee students are successful. Sadiki, do you want to say a few words? Sadiki, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me, Ella?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think we have different support systems at Kepler that help our students to be successful. I would mention first, starting from the preparation program ITEME. When students start from ITEME, they learn more about the higher education programs and they come prepared with soft skills that they get from the preparation program. And also when they get to Kepler after the competitive admission process, we also have the remediation program that helps them to learn technology before they start the learning journey at Kepler, and they get to also to learn English, conversation, public speaking, so that they can be able to ask questions in class and also learn from others. And also we have a kind of diverse community of students where our refugee students can learn from Rwandan students who come from different schools, or learn from international students, and they get really to know how to live with them. And also we refugee college guidance counselors work together with them one-on-one advising, and we reach out to the students, they tell us the challenges they meet, and then we can give them examples of how we've been dealing with these issues because we've been refugee students too. And also at Kepler, we have a diversity of support systems through the academic advisors who support students. They do the check-ins, the office hours to help them really learn about the project, and also they can submit challenging feedback, then they can discuss about that and appoint them to necessary resources to use. And also we have the career support system. Looks like our students are like equipped in that way. And also I cannot deny the importance of modules that students take in class, because they learn the courses in modules that help them to learn more about the local context, and also it is a way they match that with what they learn in CFA. So thank you. If I forgot anything, Ella can add that. Ella or Ashley or Dora.
Thank you so much. We are running out of the time. We are late. We are 7 minutes late. I don't want to take people's time. So it was such a great conversation. I see that we have a lot, no accommodation and transportation for Kepler students. I would love to answer the last question. So we have two campuses. One is in Kiziba refugee camp, where students don't face any issue with the transportation. And we do also allow our students to stay on campus in weekend. We do provide also lunch at our campus so that our students can stay there and focus on their studies. There, with Kiziba campus, we don't have any issue with transportation or connectivity. Our campus can provide everything. But with Kigali, we don't have the dormitory. Our students live around the campus. We do provide a stipend that help our students to be able to study effectively and to focus on their study. We make sure that our students live nearby our campus and they can access our campus anytime, despite, but you know that we're all facing the COVID, but now we're not able to work on campus, but our students are able to continue their studies online through the support that they get from advisors or the facilitator. So Kepler has a diverse team that help our students to make sure that they are both learning effectively. I don't know if I answered well your question, but I will ask someone to paste a link of our Kepler website. So in case you have any question about Kepler, you can go there and access needed information. Yeah, I'm obliged to take to stop from here. Thank you, Stephanie, for pasting the link there. Arash, I would also ask you to paste the link of the UniHR platform where students can access different opportunities. So happy Refugee Day to everyone here, and hope to see a lot of going on activity impacting the community. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.